A struggling welder finds redemption when a chance act of kindness draws the attention of a retired general. Follow Jack Riley's journey. Like, subscribe, and share if this resonates with you. Comment. Who's been a quiet hero in your life? The wind carried a biting chill across the rolling hills of eastern Tennessee, kicking up dust as Jack Riley crouched beside a rusted old flatbed truck stalled on a lonely stretch of Highway 27. His hands, rough from years of welding, gripped a wrench, grease streaking his faded denim shirt. A mocking voice cut through the hum of the engine. Fixing someone else's junk again, Riley. Your own shed's still falling apart. It was Tom Hargrove, a nosy neighbor from down the lane, his tone dripping with scorn. Jack didn't flinch. He tightened the bolt with steady precision, his focus unbroken. Nearby, his 6-year-old daughter, Ellie, sat in their battered pickup, nibbling a peanut butter sandwich, watching her dad with wide, admiring eyes. The next morning, as the sun barely crested the hills, 3 sleek black SUVs rolled up to Jack's weathered homestead. Tom peeked through his blinds, muttering, "Who's that old fool got coming now?" The sight of government plates and tinted windows left him speechless. Inside, the hum of a creaky ceiling fan, the groan of sagging floorboards, and the clink of a spoon against a cracked mug filled Jack's morning. At 38, he lived a quiet life in a house that leaked when it rained, its walls faded and porch sagging. Once a staff sergeant and master welder with the Army's 101st Airborne, Jack now raised Ellie alone after losing his wife, Sarah, to a car accident 2 years prior. She'd been his anchor, bright, practical, a librarian who dreamed of a stable life. Her death unraveled those plans, and Jack left the military, unable to balance grief and duty. Since then, Jack pieced together a living, welding broken machinery in barns, hauling lumber, moonlighting at Dixon's garage with an old Army pal. The pay was erratic, just enough for rent, groceries, and Ellie's preschool. He never complained. Each morning, he made Ellie oatmeal, packed her lunch, kissed her forehead, and dropped her off. Every night, no matter how exhausted, he bathed her, read a story, and tucked her in. "Good dad, stay," he'd murmur, a mantra against the exhaustion. The nights were the hardest. Memories of Sarah's laughter, deployment scars, Ellie's first word after the funeral, and the weight of unpaid bills haunting him. Yet Jack held to a code from his first platoon leader: help because it's right, not for reward. To Ellie, her dad was a titan in worn boots, her small fingers tracing his weld scars, asking, "Did you fix the tank, Daddy?" He'd nod, sparing her the deeper wounds. That afternoon, after a delivery job for Dixon's, Jack spotted the flatbed on Highway 27. The driver, a lean man with graying hair in a mud-caked coat, stood silently by the hood. Jack pulled over. "Hang on, kiddo," he told Ellie, grabbing his tool bag. The man nodded but said nothing, his gaze steady, almost expectant. Jack diagnosed a seized alternator. "This one's seen better days," he muttered, working without a word. Tom's voice jeered again. "Wasting time on that when your roof's a sieve, Riley." Jack ignored him, finishing the repair. The engine rumbled to life. "She'll hold," Jack said, wiping his hands. The man finally spoke, voice gravelly. "You didn't ask my name?" Jack shrugged. "Didn't need to." The man nodded, drove off, leaving Jack with a strange feeling, unfinished. That night, after Ellie slept, Jack replayed the encounter. The man's calm unnerved him. He didn't know the truck carried more than cargo. It carried intent. The next morning, as Jack poured coffee and sliced an apple for Ellie, the rumble of engines broke the peace. 3 SUVs sat outside. Ellie's voice trembled. "Daddy, people are here?" Jack stepped onto the porch, barefoot, a dish towel over his shoulder. A tall, silver-haired man emerged from the lead vehicle, flanked by 2 others. He approached with military precision, showing a badge. "Mr. Riley, I'm Colonel Everett Hayes, formerly of Special Forces Command. We're with Veteran Support Initiatives. Someone you met wants to talk." From the SUV stepped the flatbed driver, now in a sharp navy suit. "Jack Riley," he said, voice firm. "I'm General Leonard Pierce, retired, ex-commander of NATO Logistics. You fixed my truck yesterday without knowing who I was." Jack tensed. "Sir, I didn't," Pierce cut in. "And that's why I'm here. May we come in?" Inside, Ellie stared as Pierce crouched, smiling. "You're Ellie. Your dad's a good man." Jack sent her to play, then faced Pierce. "What's this about?" Pierce slid an envelope across the table. "An offer. Open it." Inside was a proposal, a role in the Veteran Resilience Program, tripling his income, housing aid, healthcare, and a school fund for Ellie. Jack hesitated. "Why me? I'm just a welder." Pierce leaned forward. "You're more. I staged that breakdown across 5 states. You're the first to help without asking. That's the character we need." The offer detailed a program to rebuild rural infrastructure. Roads, power lines, water systems, using veteran skills. "We're not fixing pipes," Pierce said. "We're fixing a system that forgot people like you." Jack thought of Ellie's worn shoes, the leaky shed, the nights he'd stretched dollars thin. "I'm no leader," he said. "You are," Pierce countered. "Leadership isn't a title, it's action." Jack nodded, accepting the challenge. As the SUVs left, he felt a shift. Hope where fear had been. 6 months later, Jack thrived in the program's training in Knoxville, leading well teams on power grid repairs. Ellie joined a better school, and their new home had a dry roof. A year on, Pierce invited Jack to a Senate hearing in D.C. to advocate for the program. In a borrowed suit, Jack spoke plainly. "I didn't want charity, just a chance to serve again. This program gave it." The room buzzed. The initiative expanded nationwide. Jack mentored others, balancing work with Ellie's bedtime stories. One evening, a neighbor, once critical, asked for help with a generator. "Why help me?" she asked. "Because it's right," Jack replied. In his office, the envelope sat as a reminder. Small acts spark change. His story, shared by Pierce, inspired a movement, proving that quiet service can reshape a nation.